1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9. You didn't book, eh? You didn't see it. Okay, cool. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dave. I'm the owner of the Swing Shack. For the guys who are returning, welcome back. Thanks for coming down. We're not going to have the longest clinic today, but I think there's going to be a lot of questions and stuff. I want this to be more of a understanding how this devilish piece of machinery works. It gets us into playing most of our shots on the golf course versus hitting full shots. Okay, so I'm hoping they will walk out here and go, okay, cool, I know what length of putter I need, I know how to move the putter, I know how to start the ball online, and I know how to control my pace. Okay, that's what I want you to walk away with here, going, I have a better understanding of how I'm going to do this. I'm not going to guarantee it's going to happen immediately, but I think if you do follow these steps, you're going to obviously start to see, okay, cool, maybe you don't make as many putts initially, but we're going to just, today's whole thing is, how do we get rid of 3 putts? It's very simple. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to talk about what's more important, line versus pace. Okay, so is your speed more important or is your line when you're hitting a putt? Let's take a 20-foot putt, so like a 7-meter putt. What's more important, your line or your speed? Speed. Good? Yep. What about 3 meters? Line or speed? You can hit a shit putt with the right speed and it can still go in. You can pull a putt with the right speed on a left to right or a right to left putt and it can still go in, because if it's got the right speed, it can drop in. If it's too hard, it's obviously going to lip out. But if it's too soft, it's obviously never going to go in, because it's going to stop short. So 3, 1, 10 meters doesn't matter. If you have the right speed, you're more likely to, 1, make more putts. Okay, what is the right speed? It's a foot past the hole. It's not 2 feet. It's not 3 feet. It's not this crap you hear on YouTube about you need to give it a go from 3 meters. If that ball is rolling too quickly and you do pull or push it, it's not going in. It's going to lip out. If it's going a foot past, it can go in at a pull putt, or a push putt can still lip in. We can try and die the longer ones in so that we can obviously get that pace right a little bit better. If we're dying putts in, we need to allow for more break. Again, it's a more difficult putt to hit if you're allowing for too much break. You're often going to leave it short, or you're going to miss it low side if you don't get the speed right. So everything I say, you'll notice I'll say it's speed related. Okay? So the biggest thing is, I've said this before at some clinics, so some of you will know the answer, is how many putts from 10 foot are made on the PGA Tour, percentage-wise? This is 10 foot. Today. Sorry?
80%. That's a big problem. Like when you watch everything and they step up, you're like, this is like us, guys.
I was at that, I think it was like 40%.
Neil, 34%.
34. Wow.
So why, when you hit a putt, you magically hit a putt this far away for birdie and you miss and you absolutely lose your mind. But it's relative, right? It is. And then the worst thing I've ever seen, and I see a lot of people do this, because I play a lot with some of my students, and I'm putting to my wall down there, and okay, it's an amazing putt, and it lips out, and he loses his mind, but he's 30 foot away. It's like we need to compare apples with apples. How many putts do you guys hit every day to practice? Okay. Why do you have expectations when you get onto the golf course that it's miraculously going to go in the hole? It's not. I played professional golf. I used to stand there hitting, in 2 hours, you probably hit 200 putts. Okay? Every single day. Did I putt better? Maybe a little bit, but I didn't make more putts. You know, I got a bit better, but I was not 3-putting. And that was the difference. Okay? So let's just talk about that sort of concept of, okay, cool. Now we go, okay, I'm expecting to make, because we're not expecting to make 34% of the best players in the world are going to make them. Doesn't that make you go, shit, this is so much easier now, because now I can just grab a ball, because it starts there. You standing here and you're going, holy shit, I need to make this. And then you mur it like that past the hole because you want to make it. But then you're not thinking about what comes next. And then you hit it 3 meters past and you go, oh shit, I've hit it 3 meters past. Now I don't want to do the same thing. And then we duff our putt because we don't want to. So if I just said to you, okay, cool. Tour average from here, let's call it a straight putt, is 2 putts. You just have to do that. You don't even have to think. And I can put you all here and I can put a mark there and you'll hit that spot every time without thinking about it, because your goal is not the hole. The goal is just get it close to the hole so you can tap it in. If I said to you, you'll 2-putt every putt for the rest of your life, would you take it? You might not like it, but you'll take it, right? And that's like, it's like for me, that's the biggest thing. Okay, so taking the pressure and expectation of number one. Forget about making putts. When I'm hitting a putt from here, where am I aiming? Not at the hole. What is my end goal? Yes, the hole. But my end goal is to try and hit my line, so my spot, if it's a left to right or a right to left putt, with the right speed. And it's always that. Okay, it's a left to right putt. We also don't go to green reading courses, so we don't know how to read greens perfectly. So again, you're not going to get that right every time. But if your speed's right and you do guess right, it's going in. Okay? So what I'm trying to get at here is we're going to set up, okay? We're not bothered about the hole. We know what speed we want to hit it. And the speed we're hitting it determines if this putt is left to right. How much left I am or how much right I am is determined by a perfect speed. So we're always reading a green based on the fact that we're going to get the ball just past the hole. If it's a super downhill left to right breaking putt, we're not obviously going to give this a little bit too much gas because we're going to hang it out a little bit more left and hit it softer because we're just trying to stop it at the hole. Does that make sense? So the softer you're going, the more break. The harder you're going, the less break. Okay? Make sense? Okay? Because it's got less time to turn if it's moving faster. Makes sense? From 3 meters, please don't watch Rory McIlroy and try and do that. It doesn't work. From a meter, don't do what Rory McIlroy does. It doesn't work. That's why you can't win a golf tournament. It's not ever straight and firm. Okay? I'm going to show you now how you control that. Are there any questions while I'm ranting on about Rory McIlroy? Questions? Make sense? All sounds easy enough, right? What is the biggest struggle for you guys out there? Why are you guys here? Let's just put it that way.
Well, for me, it's definitely the distance thing. I'm always trying to come to the hole, just get it in.
So you're too firm generally.
Yeah, too firm. Way too firm.
Okay?
Yeah, just pace control in general is terrible. Like, I feel like practice green, kind of feel, okay, this is fine. Then I get on the course and like, it just goes out the window.
Yeah.
So I really struggle with that. And then it's like you say, you hit one too far. The next one's too short. And I really struggle, like,
Sure.
it takes me a long time to pretty much find the pace.
Okay. Cool.
I'd say it's more the psychology behind it. So I'd say for someone like you, who probably hit green regulation 50 to 65%. If you're putting, let's say, like I play for 24, so double stroke on some holes. And I'm saying now this is to score, you kind of, you're headed.
You're trying to make it, right?
Thinking of that, hey, close the game, tap in.
Sure.
Let me at least score a point and get out.
Yeah. Sure. No, it makes sense. I agree. I hear you.
On the tee box. Because you know you have to score.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's,
Okay.
it's just the psychology and playing that shot and not thinking about what happened prior.
Yeah.
Let me putt here and make sure I do what's required and then get out of it.
Okay. So you feel like your long game puts you in a position where you're more under pressure on the short game.
So I'd say it maybe instead of getting on the green in 2, I'll get on in 3 on a par 4.
Sure. And at your handicap, is that acceptable?
Yes,
So if you 2-putt from there, what are you making?
a 5, depending
So-
on the stroke. You know.
So this is, you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I want to challenge you because if I say to you, you're going to be on the green putting for par on every single hole and you 2-putt, what is your score? It's 90. It's 90. 18 over par. 18 bogeys is 90. If I told you you can go out there and shoot 90 every time, you'd be like, sign me up, I'm in.
Of course, any day.
See, so I think it's not just that psychology of this thing needs to perform because the rest isn't.
Yeah.
It's working at both of them, and I know you are, so that's fine. I'm not singling you out. I'm just trying to make you think about it differently. Okay? If you think about this, who here plays off a single figure handicap? Handicap?
It's at 7.9.
7.9. So you kind of anything under 80, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay? How many 3-putts do you have around?
Plenty. That's what I'm sitting here.
Cool.
That's my worst part of golf at the moment. Is
But you see what I'm saying? It's like it's the same thing. He doesn't have to worry about what you have to worry about because he can hit the green.
Yes.
He needs to get aggressive. He thinks, cheers, Bernard. He thinks he needs to get aggressive because he wants to.
that birdie to be.
He wants to get to 72, where you just want to get to 90. So the pressure is actually less on you than what it is on him, because he needs to make putts, where you don't need to make a putt.
It
If
doesn't feel like that. If you think
okay, please.
I don't like those birdies.
I've only got 8 shots to play with. That's his psychology when he gets there.
Yep.
I've got 19 shots. I've got I can double bogey the first 2 holes. Like, okay, just calm down.
Yeah.
You're getting
I
more.
double bogey the first 3 holes. I'm done. I'm out.
You
Sure.
understand? So now, like, I've got 2 shots over this guy.
Yeah.
Why is he beating me on a 300-meter par 4?
Well, because he's better than you.
But
He
I've
is.
got more strokes than him, so
Yep.
I should be able to score higher.
Yeah, but if you bogey it and he birdies it, you guys make the same points.
Like I've got a birdie and par just so that your bogey and your
Yeah.
That's where I'm saying the difficulty comes in
Yeah.
for him. Now, when he chows me on that hole, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
no, but if you chow me, you've got more chance to chow me all the
Yeah,
time.
no, then you're going to have a terrible day.
I like that. You're going to have a terrible day. Okay, so think about it the next time you play golf. Every single hole you play, if it's a par 3, you play it as a par 4. You have to be on the green in 2, you have to 2-putt. Par 4 is a par 5. If you hit your drive down, then you got a pitching wedge and you miss the green, you get upset, slap yourself and say, listen, this is a par 5. I'm going to hit it on the green. I might make the putt for birdie because I'm actually playing a par 5. Take the pressure off yourself. If you shoot 90 once, the 80s, the high 80s will just start to roll in because you're just playing it differently. You need to stop trying to make pars. I play with a lot of guys, they play off 20. It pains me. They make a double bogey on a hole. They say, yes, I need to birdie this next hole. And I'm like, you don't need to birdie a hole ever in your life. At that handicap, you don't, like, let a birdie happen and let it be a happy moment. But trying to make birdie on a hole is, you're not there.
That's 1 in 90.
Yeah.
That's a handicap. 1 birdie in 90 rounds. Not 90 holes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, well, you're playing off at 20 plus. You
Yeah.
you don't realize that.
Yeah.
don't realize what the odds are.
And the other thing about this is, if you shoot 90, you are in the top, I think it's 15 or 20% of golfers in the world.
Is that actually true?
So you're in the top 5% in the world. I'm in the top 0.1.
Wow. That's like
Doesn't make me feel very good because when I play shit, I'm like, I'm not in the top 0.1.
0.01%.
Yeah,
Not one in
but it gives you some perspective, right? Because you have a shitty day and you shoot 80, and there's a guy like that going, I've had a blinder and I've shot 92.
Yeah.
But that's why golf is so nice, because we can all play together.
Well, that's it.
But, yes,
So if you have 20, I mean, the critical thing is to keep triple on. That's
yeah. So it's keep it in play, and yeah,
like doubles for you. If I have a trip, because now I've got to get 2 pars,
Yeah.
which for me is a.
No, we can't work with doubles. That
Or just generally bombing out. So I'm also
Well, bomb out is a trip. The bomb out is give you a trip.
but that's the thing. It's like that's not this thing's fault, right? So don't put the pressure on this guy because, and this is, you're not going to like me for saying this, but every single green has got spike marks. It's been cut, so it's growing at different times. There's bumps in the greens because oaks don't fix their pitch marks. And you're trying to hit a perfect putt at the perfect speed from 3 meters into a hole, but you have like 73 variables. I'll be back. Sorry, I just want to open it. How's it? That's all right.
Car battery died.
Oh, shit.
Get on a motorcycle to go fetch another car. To get back to the car to get my golf.
Shit, man. Cool. You here for the clinic, eh? Cool, you can just pull up a seat. So the likelihood of getting a bounce, you know, there can be a grain of sand on your ball. The ball bounces. You know, there's just so many. I can just go on and on and on and on. And you look at a guy like Bryson, and he's literally got like 73 machines around trying to make sure that he's getting the thing started online and rolling perfectly. And I'm not knocking him, but the one thing you can't control is what is happening between that ball and the hole. What is happening at the hole? Is the hole cut properly? Is there a pitch mark inside of the hole that he didn't see? There's just so many things, right? But if I get it to this far away for my first putt, I don't have to think about it because we tap it in and off we go. And that's as simple as that, okay? So that's the one thing. Pace, 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 pace. And I'm going to ramble on about this and you go, okay, that's great, but how do I do that? Okay? I'm going to start grip, alignment, setup, okay? This is non-negotiable from my side as a coach. You can grip it and hold it and stand however you want. I don't really care, but this is how I do it. And I've coached quite a few good players in my lifetime, and they're still doing really well on the Asian tour at the moment. And this is how we followed it. We used to use all those fancy gadgets and to make sure that we got the right results. But starting with the grip, where does the grip go in your hands with a putter? Bob. Never in your fingers. Okay? Full shots in your fingers. You need strength. You only need to hit this thing at a maximum 15 meters. The more you go here, the more you do this. As soon as I grip it here, it's very hard. Okay? Just holds the putter face more stable. Okay? So however you grip it, I don't really care. It's always going to be there, not here. Okay? So in the palm, however you grip it, I'll show you how I grip it. I just put it in my left palm. My thumb points down. In my right palm, my thumb points down. That just feels comfortable for me. I see guys going this way or that way, but whatever hand is on the golf club, it's always going to be in that side, especially in your left hand as a right-handed golfer. Because if it's here, this happens. If it's there, it's very hard to twist. Okay? So number one. Number two, your hands are preferably close together. Okay? Your grip pressure out of 10. How hard do you hold the putter?
Like a 4 out of 10.
7. 9 is too hard. Because you start to engage this part of your body and then your arms start to take the putter away. If you're too soft, you get twitchy. So what we're trying to do is, if I'm at 7, that locks in my wrists here, okay? The next part here is when you're making your stroke, if you're at 7, you can actually feel where the putter head is, because I'm going to get to how you move the putter. But when you're moving it with the right parts of your body, you want to be able to feel where the putter head is, and that stops you from flicking the hands through, because this is something I see every day. This angle here never changes. It's always a little bit bowed this way. It's never in. So it's that way. See that sort of rounding there? It's never here. As soon as you go there, that happens. That causes the ball to bobble. It causes the ball to spin off the putter face because we're adding loft, and that affects our speed. So your best bet with the putter is, once you're there, you can see my hands are ahead of the ball. I mean, ahead of the head, you can see that. As soon as I do that, I'm adding loft. as much as 5 degrees. So obviously we want to get the ball to roll on the ground. We can't be adding 5 degrees to something that already generally has 4. These things don't come out 0 loft. They've all got 4 degrees of loft, some more, some less. But your general average is 4 degrees. Okay? That angle, super important. Yo.
I watch some guys forward press, like Jordan Spieth, before he puts, he just goes like that. Is that for that reason?
So look at what it does to the putter face.
D-lofts.
D-lofts. It also actually opens.
Okay.
You might think that D-loft means close. Incorrect. That opens, that adds loft and closes. That D-lofts and opens the face. Because generally golfers have an issue with pulling putts because they decel and then their hands take over. Okay. So I'm just assuming we're all going left hand on top. If we do go the other way, I can obviously, it's the same thing. So I used to putt left hand low, but that angle was still in my left hand. So basically, you can see how the putter stays on that arc. Doesn't go this way. Okay. Number 1 for strike and distance. Okay. The second thing is posture. So got that angle. Oh, I actually quite like how that feels. I might try that again. So posture-wise, we're looking kind of at waist height. You just pull your shoulders in a little bit. You see that? So it's this, okay? And then from there, we just tilt down from our hips, okay? And this is where you'll see this putt is too long at 35 for me. This is how we gauge putter length. So if we get you here and you just tilt down, that's where I should be putting from. It's a 35-inch putter. It's 2 inches too long for me. See? What that does, if you start here, you bend your arms into your rib cage and you bend down. You can see my eyes are not over the ball and they're not like here. It gets my eyes directly inside this line here. You see there? It's very natural, right? Even if I just stand like this and I just do that, that's how long your putter should be. So guys come in for a fitting and they go, I thought this was going to be just as high tech as that. And I go, no, it's not. Because I'm not going to teach you anything but how to stand and how to move the thing. That's up to you, okay? There's not much I can do for you in terms, I can change your lie angle and I can change the loft for you, but any shape doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter where the shaft is, the putters move the same way, just preference, okay? So posture is here, boom, in, over. Okay, I'm going to hold it where I should. So it's there, angle in that left wrist. And what we're trying to do now is, only thing that moves the putter is this shoulder. Yeah. Okay. It's not the hands. It's not the wrists. If I stand here, the left shoulder moves down. See that? And then it moves up. No, your arms are relaxed. No, but we've done this part. So your elbows are kind of in, but then you're down. Your elbows are relaxed, but your grip pressure is 7. Okay? If I stand here and I just rock my shoulder down and up, can you see the putter face doesn't really move? It just goes back straight, through straight. Watch from this. I'll use this line. So it goes down. See that? And up. No hands, no wrists. It does 2 things. Obviously, your path is going to be a lot straighter, but it also stops this. Okay. We don't need a thin, fat heel, toe. We're not closing the club face. We're not trying to, this is what we were taught. I went to a very professional place to study, and that's what I was taught. It's in, to square, to in. And you're standing there putting to make a cut for qualifying school, and you push it 3 foot right from a 3-meter putt, and you're like, what's happening? Because this becomes really hard to control, especially once we start going like this, because we're trying to hit the putt 30 meters. This just gets longer and longer and longer, back and through. Okay, so left shoulder moves the putter. Busani? Yeah. There's going to be, as soon as you go slightly longer, you can see here, there's going to be a slight arc, so it will start pulling in, but I'm not doing that on purpose. It's just because the putter is moving slightly back. And up. Eventually it will start going that way as well, but I mean, I'm going to have to hit a very long putt with this technique. Yeah. No, you don't really have to think about it, because if you stand here and you just go down, up, the putter just rocks along its own axis anyway, because you're not doing anything to change that. Because as soon as you're in the right posture, your putter sits flat. Okay? Easier to go straight back and straight through. It's not sitting like that. It's not sitting like this. Not like Steve Stricker or like Tony Finau.
Yeah. It's crazy
Okay?
how they do that. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you see, he did it for 3 weeks, and then he couldn't putt for shit, and then he went back.
Did he go back?
He designed a putter at Ping. I think that was the problem, is he designed a training aid, and they said to him, there's no way you're putting like that on TV, but we're selling your putter. So he went straight back, and he started winning. No, I'm not joking, yeah.
What of the whole concept of keep the triangle and just move like a pendulum?
Move what?
No, as in, like, okay.
Yep. You can come up here. We've got space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's so amazing what you do.
Yeah. So it's keeping the triangle here
Mm.
and just,
Yeah?
that's all.
Yeah?
So,
Yeah? Your whole body's moving. That's the problem. So what I watch my triangle, right? Is my triangle moving? Watch here. It's staying, but is my body moving? No. It's just my shoulders. So this is correct. But this is not enough. Telling me to just do this is not enough, because I can do it with my arms, I can do it with my legs, like just while you were standing there, and we'll get to this. You start doing this. Same as in your golf swing, we've spoken about that, right? You don't need a golf ball like that, because you're not going to strike it. Now, the longer the putt gets, the short ones you'll get away with it. The longer the putt gets, the more you move. So we motor that club back shoulder. Okay? And you see where this putter is? And you see what's happening here. This is my next point. When you do this on the longer putts, you'll see the putter almost starts to look like it gets like de-lofted. Okay? Why is that? Because I'm not doing this. Okay? So I don't need to do that as I come through. It goes there, and as I come through, you see how it just maintains. Again, this angle is very important. Okay? So what you're saying is right. I just want you to understand that if you get this part right, and you use the left shoulder, that will help you, yes, as like a reference point. But there's so many other things that you need to consider. Okay? So, geez, like I'm talking a lot, sorry. Where was I? Okay, so in this position, how do we control speed? This is my favorite question. I'm going to move because I want somebody to come and show me. It sounds like somebody who doesn't want to come up here.
You maybe come up with the one thing that is like inside the foot, middle, and outside, right?
Yep, so length of backswing. Why length of backswing?
I don't really want to accelerate the ball. I just want to go through the ball at the same, at a constant pace. I want to accelerate.
Okay?
So if I have a short, if I take a short backswing, okay, I've got a 20-foot putt now. And you see the pros, they short backswing, but the greens are running at 40.
Agree.
Greens are running at 10.
Okay?
And I want flow.
Okay? Cool. So yes and no. Length of backswing is right. I like to think of it as length of stroke. Okay? So length of stroke is a completely different, it sounds the same, but what I want you to understand is my system, and I've worked this out quite thoroughly, and I've actually studied it and spent a lot of time checking data and stuff. But if you need to hit a 3-meter putt, okay, so this putt here, all you need to do is swing to, and we'll get to what you were saying earlier, is that's how far back I've got to go. For 3 meters. Okay? And how far through do I go? Exactly the same distance. Okay? You can see that was just with the shoulder, right? So the system is pace is always decided by length of stroke. Okay? The constant there is the speed at which you swing that shoulder has to be the same. And on those shorter ones, so my system is 3 meters is inside my right foot to inside my left foot with my shoulder. And it's quite quick. You'll see it's quite like a brisk movement. 5 to 6 meters toe cap, so in the middle of my foot. It's there to there. 10 meters is outside my right foot to outside my left foot. Same speed of stroke. And that pretty much covers all the putts that you need to worry about, and the rest is feel. Okay, so as soon as you start going out here, I don't have a system that's going to tell you exactly where, because it's hard. It's hard to judge. But most of your putts that count are going to be between 3 and 10 meters. Okay?
And what would let you slope a line?
It's a good question. Yeah, so if you see, so let's say I've got a 5 meter super downhill putt, okay? Now with practice, I would have gone, we're playing quicker greens, okay? This is my system. It will change for you because some guys will be playing super quick greens, some will be playing super slow greens. So if I'm playing at CCJ and they've just cut the greens because it's the week of the US Open and for some stupid reason they make them 14, that's 5 meters, not 3 anymore. My point is, you put the system in place, you hit a few putts on the practice green, you know, and you don't just hit putts on the practice green because you're trying to hold putts. You go, I always do this, so I go, okay, cool, that's a meter, cool, and I just put tees. I never putt to a hole when I'm practicing, ever, because my focus is not line, it's speed, okay? So I hit that putt and I go, okay, cool, lekker. Now I hit my 3 meter putt like I normally would, inside to inside, and I go, yes, but I've hit that 3 foot past. So now I adjust. So, yeah. Yeah. So I just adjust. So uphill, so inside to inside from 3 meters. If it's uphill, I'll use that from 2 meters, or I'll just go to the middle of my field. Like I'll play a 3 meter putt if it's super uphill at 5 meters. So then I'll go middle to middle. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, so distance is also important, so you should definitely measure without anyone knowing the distance to your hole from the ball.
So I have guys, right, that play professional golf that walk their putts out. Yeah. And that's all they do. Because once they're over it, they've obviously played a practice round, they've hit putts beforehand, and the hole will be where that thing is, and the guy will go, okay, cool, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he'll go, okay, cool, it's between there and the middle. And he'll stand there, and then he'll read his putt, and he'll go, okay, cool, that's my spot. It's a flat putt. I'm playing it as 5 meters. And he'll just stand there, and he'll just go, okay, cool, that's my 5 meter stroke. Lekker, picks his line, and that's all he thinks about. He's like, okay, cool, I've already done all that work. I hit the putt. So there's no pressure on, shit, I need to start it. He lines it up, goes, okay, cool, it's my 5 meter stroke. Boom. Oak doesn't miss.
So in essence, you should know your stroke number and just play to that depending on how it's like.
And it's day to day and slope based, yeah. And that there's nothing I can give you to help you with that. That's practice. Because some guys will like going a little smoother in their inside to inside, so they might only hit it 2.5 meters instead of 3. That's completely fine. As long as it's coming from the right place, you're going to be successful. Okay? When the greens are slower, I go a little bit slower in my pace because I understand that I'm not going to be doing this from 5 meters because I'm worried that it bounces, okay? So I tend to go slightly longer on slow greens with a slightly slower shoulder movement. Okay? Questions? There should be so many.
Just with your free plays, but I saw when they always do it too wide or
Stays the same. Yeah.
Because also
I-
notice you do it as well, like you just done now.
Yeah.
Guys put their hands on their hips or on their thighs. Is that also just to straighten this up?
Yeah, so like when I set up my putter, so like let's say, I'll run you through my setup quickly, so you can see. So I'm going from there to there, right? So I'll pick a line. Who uses a line on the ball? The marker line. Do you mark it? Okay. Why sometimes? You're too lazy to mark it.
I find the longer putting messes my mind.
Yeah.
When you sort of get to your 10 foot, then you really want to be accurate.
Okay.
Some people take those spinners that you put the ball in your spinners and they mark the line with the center of its own gravity. They're completely off that line. So like when I look at the ball, I'm like, is that line actually going to give me a true roll, or is it? You know what I mean? I've been sort of just like being.
No, look, there's a whole lot of theories about the balls are not centered, and I get that side, and that is that's obviously something you can't control. You can try and figure it out, but from a instead of to their spot, and that's what I was going to get to, and that's a good point. We're not aiming at the hole ever on a putt. You are aiming at something, and this is what I was going to say to you, Neil, is maybe the reason it screws you up on the long putts is your point that you're aiming to is too far away. Okay? I used to play golf twice a week with Kelly Tan. He's a Malaysian golfer on the LPGA Tour. Really, really good golfer. And I used to pick a spot kind of where that was for like a 5-6 meter putt, and she made me aim my line at something like half a meter in front, and it was mind-blowing. Because you...
I look half a meter in front, I see the spot, and then I walk behind and I can't see.
Okay, so the simple solution there is you pick your spot, right? Then you line up, and then check if it's right. Just so you don't lose your spot. I get that. I've also had that a few times. But if you're picking a spot here, it's going to be a lot easier to not lose it as well. The breaking point. You can still bear in mind, and we'll get to breaking point because line reading is obviously very important. But the breaking point is basically from there, you're just going to pick your line where you want that ball to roll over to reach your breaking point. Okay, but never go further than this. The only reason I say that is I've had guys that go, I'm like, where are you aiming? And they say, I'm aiming right edge. And the oak's aiming like 5 balls left. And I'm like, no, you're not. But the nice thing with a ball is you can line it up where you want to and then use the line on your putter if you have one. If you don't, it's chill. Just try and get the ball in the middle of the putter face with that line pointing kind of in the middle. And then you set up to that because that's going to make your chances of hitting your line way better. And you're not going to hit your line every time, but I'm guaranteeing you once you start to get this feeling and you get confidence in that technique, you're not going to hit putts with open face or closed face or bouncing. That'll be gone. Then it becomes a case of how well can I read the green? Because your pace is there. You're two-putting everything and you go, oh shit, I'm just missing it right, missing it left. Then you can start to focus on things like start line, am I reading enough break? Like there's no point in trying to go there first because you don't know how to putt. So you need to learn to putt and then you can learn to fix. It's like your golf swing. I'm not going to teach you how to hit a snap hook and a push slice on your first lesson because I need to teach you how to hit the thing properly first before I can get you to hit these funny shots, right? Makes sense. Get this part right. Green reading, aim point is incredible. Anybody can do it. It's a little bit expensive. But if you do aim point, it will change your life. It changed my life. And I was like, this is bullshit. I don't like it. It's crap. Okay? The ability to understand how to read a green is incredible. To teach somebody how to read a green is nearly impossible. Okay? But the nice thing about aim point is you're using your feet and it helps you feel the slope. And that determines based on a gradient. They teach you how to feel it in your feet. And you'll see the guys doing this weird thing on TV, okay? I'm aim point certified, but I haven't done it for 10 years, but I've always applied the logic of if I stand at my ball and 2/3 of the way and I feel there's more pressure, I go, okay, cool. How much more pressure? And the cool thing about the system is the reason they're doing this is not to look cool. They base the length of their arm on the speed of the greens. So the quicker the green is, the more they do this. So that makes it the break less because the greens are faster. And the further out they go, the slower the green is. So if it's uphill, they'll go more out than when it's downhill. And that actually points out the spot that you're looking for. And then you just line your ball up there and you stand there and you go, okay, cool. I need to hit a 3-meter putt on this line. So it's like cheating. But do it. Like even if you don't do the course, start to feel in your feet at the ball and like 2/3 of the way. Because then you go, shit, I think it's left to right. And then you start like thinking about like, okay, that one felt like it was quite a lot left to right. I'm just going to give it a little bit more than what I can physically see. And then you start to go, shit, I'm actually guessing these things a lot better. Because it is a guess. It's an educated guess, right? So that's the one thing. Start to feel the surface. Wherever you feel the most pressure is definitely where it's going to break away from. Does that make sense?
Walking up and down the line, going with your feet, getting that.
Yep.
The problem I have with the guys end up 1/3 on the hole. You're getting a lot of pros. There's a lot of traffic on the hole.
But again, now with the new rules that you're allowed to tap down spike marks,
Just depression, you really have to see.
you kind of you have to understand if you play better, you're going to have worse greens in the afternoon. It's one of those things, right?
You're not allowed to tap down.
Before there was no, you weren't allowed to tap down. So like I've had putts in Thailand where they use that Bermuda stuff, and it's so wet and soggy. You got like 100 kg Thai dudes, and as they pick their ball up, they do that, and then you're like, it's a spike mark. The guy's like, no, you can't fix it. And you're like, but
So, wait, if you're allowed to fix your pitch marks,
you're allowed to fix anything now.
no, but prior, if you were allowed to fix your pitch
Fix
marks,
other pitch marks, yeah.
whilst fixing your pitch marks, couldn't you fix anything else?
Have you seen the video of Tiger Woods when you beat what's the guy's name? The US Open. Shit, I can't remember. And the oak hits a putt from like literally this far away. And it's a straight putt and he hits a spike mark and he misses the hole by like this far right. It's a perfect putt. That ball's like rolling end over end. It's a spike mark and it shoots. So I think that's probably one of the better rules that they've changed. Because you've got that. You just have to look out for it. And that's the other thing. And that's where what I like what you said, Neil, with if you don't know how to do that, how many of you go behind the hole to look at the green from the other side? Good? Okay? Only behind the hole. So the general rule is when you pick your line, obviously you go that side. You don't want to take too long and I get all that kind of stuff. But I put my bag behind my ball. So I read it from that side first. And then if I see it's right to left, let's say I'm here, the putts break, my ball's there, it's breaking this way. I'll walk back to my ball this way and just have a look from this side. Because that's the way that it's breaking. And if it was left to right, I'd walk back this way. And I would just check at the hole. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. If you take a hole, right? So the cup's there. If you're not sure about which way the ball's breaking, best tip I ever learned at the coast, look for where the wear mark on the hole is. That's where the ball's breaking towards. For confirmation, if it's here, it's breaking that way. If it's here, it's breaking that way. Yeah, because of the grass. The bent grass, you don't see it so much. But there's still wear marks, and you can see there's a bit of a burn mark because, the balls start to hit there and stuff. But, yep.
I've never understood that. Is that because the putts aren't dying and they're hitting the back and
Yeah.
they're falling in?
Yeah.
So if you play, for example, early in the morning and they've just cut the hole, you wouldn't have that.
No.
So is it only when they leave a hole on a particular spot for a while and enough people are hitting it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the coast, you'll see it after one day. One, because that type of grass is a bit softer, and like the bent grass tends to cut a bit better. But even when the guy does the plunger and he pulls it out on Bermuda, it kind of, because it gets stuck, it kind of like wears out the hole there, and they sometimes paint it to try and hide it. But you can actually confirm your line quite easily by just going to look at where most of the balls are going in the hole. Making sense? Other questions?
Just trying to see which way the grass is
Grain
lying.
or nap? Grain or nap? The nap.
Which way the grass is lying.
Okay, so
It's going to something we don't really see up here. So,
at the coast you can see it, but that again is just look as close as humanly possible, and you're going to have to rely on light. It's very, very difficult. But yeah, so if you are playing Bermuda greens, the grass grows a certain direction, and that's called nap. And you can hit a right to left putt, and it will break more. But if you hit a left to right putt and the grass is growing into this way, you actually have to hit it straighter. So it's just something you got to look at, and you can look very carefully and but that's more coastal issue, but it is very important. The other thing is grain. Who here knows how to read the grain? What does grain mean? Yeah. Why?
I played with a guy once in Kailan and he gave me a whole lecture about it and I thought he was cooked. Like,
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
and there were like groups waiting for us in the fairway and I was like, can we just move on? Like, how much does grain, on like a straight flat putt, how much does grain actually influence like where your line should be?
Not much. Into the grain more so than down grain.
Okay, because that's nice, like at a park view, you can visibly see like where the grain is and that's super helpful.
Okay.
But for most of the other courses, like it's very hard to see.
Mm.
So I've always been like very unsure
Okay.
about how to use that.
So what does it mean when the grass is dark?
Growing into you.
So that's where it's going to be slower.
Yeah.
So you allow for more speed and more break. Okay? When it's shiny, it means it's quicker. It's going to break less because it's rolling with the grass. There's no resistance. It's rolling over that break. So even if you have a severely left to right putt and it's down grain, it's not going to break as much as if there was no grain. Does that make sense? Because the grass is growing this way, so the ball's more likely to roll end over end. It's going to roll faster because it's rolling with the grass, whereas if the grass is growing into, there's more resistance on the ball, so the gravity is going to have more effect on which way it falls. Does that make sense? Again, if you're putting and you've got a 5 meter putt downhill down grain, instead of going to your 5 meter, then you just go to your 3 meter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. The opposite applies. So if you're going 5 meters uphill, you're going to go 8 meter stroke, but allow for more break because it's not only going to be slower, it's going to turn more. And that's what a lot of guys get wrong. I see them go, I read it like just outside, and I'm like, but it's into the grain. They go, yeah, but I'll just hit it harder. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're hitting it, it's slower. Whenever a putt moves slower, it turns more. It makes more sense. If it's got momentum, it's not going to break because it can't fall towards where gravity is pulling it. Makes sense? Okay, questions, please?
I was just asking about your setup.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Shit. This happens every time too. I apologize. It's not intentional. I'm not trying to diffuse the question. Yes. Setup. So why I do this?
Yeah.
No reason.
Okay, fine.
So I used to do this and now I do this. I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe just because
I'm just thinking, like, is it to keep that posture as it is? Because, like I said,
One-
sometimes, like, I'm
yeah.
not keeping my legs in or my feet in the same, but sometimes I'm a little too wide, and then to do that theory, then I'm going too far out if I'm doing inside
Okay.
feet. Yeah.
So essentially, yes and no, maybe. Maybe it's a subconscious. Like I've been doing this for like the better part of 8 years, so I don't really think about it as often. But I like to put my right hand on the club, and this applies for full shots as well. Because what it does is, if my right hand is where it would normally be, it helps me control my distance to the ball. So if you have issues where like you feel like shit, I sometimes feel like I'm miles away. When I set up, we've done this, Basadi, in the full swing, So we kind of go, all right, and I always look, we've spoken about this in the previous clinics, but for those of you who aren't here, if I'm aiming at this thing, so many guys set up their putter like this, and it makes you aim so far right. Like it's ridiculous how far right you aim. If you look over your left shoulder, because I'm looking at the screen now, but look at my shoulders. So then we end up setting up like this, but we're looking like that. Please don't do that. Just like full shots putting, always look face on. So if you need to put your hand behind your back so that this shoulder gets back. So we're looking at the hole like this, or our spot like this, versus like this. It's the first mistake all golfers make. And then like you get to like, I've had so many guys that I go in here and they're perfectly set up. And then I go to the golf course and the oak will take a driver, the fairway's there, and he's like standing like this, and that equates to like 100 meters right. So all that hard work I've done on making him swing the club from the inside is not there anymore because his brain goes, hang on, I'm aiming there, I need to go here. Same applies for this club. Then we start to introduce club face issues, length of stroke issues, wrists start to take place.
Dave, you see some of the pros use some type of movement to make sure that their left shoulders are not, the lead shoulder is not falling, is not sitting behind them. That's
Yep. You mean in the setup itself?
in the setup when they do this, as part of
You're talking about this?
yeah, just to make sure that left shoulder doesn't drop
Yeah.
back.
So that's a good one. It's a very easy cheat code. You just fold your shirt under your elbow. It's very hard to do this or to do this. So it's like you're just doing this. You'll see a lot of them do it on their full shots as well. So you just squeeze it in, and that kind of gets your shoulders pretty square. See that? So that's where you want to be. Yeah, so like a lot of guys have different little things. It doesn't matter. The other thing is shoulder plane. Okay? With your putter, this is something I didn't talk about at setup. We always want to have kind of like 65% of our weight on our left side. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? So if we're there, look at my shoulders. Whereas if I set up and I'm more on my right side, my shoulders tend to want to go this way. And that means we start hitting the ball on the way up. That makes it bounce. And then we leave it short. And then we go, shit, I need to smoke the next one. Where it wasn't the stroke, it was the strike.
I mean, just your body position and your ball, but you actually mentioned it earlier, like, can you say, like, you must literally be looking at the ball down, like, your eyeball must be aligned with the ball?
Inside. Always the inside. So you can, maybe if you can't see, just let me know. But if I'm in this position here, let me just set up first. So I just want to get my distance right. So that's where I want to be. Watch out. So it's just inside there. The eyes are inside the ball line. If they over, yeah. So if they over, you're looking at the line this way again. Same as this, just a different concept. Whereas if you're too much there, you're looking at it too far that way.
This is something interesting you guys just started to talk about recently that ask inside the ball. Quite a lot of chat
About that, sorry?
having your line ask inside, whereas before it was coached.
Yeah. You used to see this. And then once you get here and you try go up, look at where the putter goes. Yeah.
On the take back,
Yep.
how much level do you keep the putter? Because I've seen people almost lift it up immediately. I sort of
Try and drag it.
try and drag it maybe an inch or so just to keep it down. How far do you go before that affects the shoulder movement?
I mean, it's very much dependent on, are you pushing it there with your hand or picking it up with your hand? So
I'm turning, but I'm making sure that it does about
it stays lower. Yeah. Look, essentially, if you did this correctly, you can see the putter doesn't really lift much. So if you do move the shoulder down, it will probably, I'd say, the longer you go back, but on the shorter ones, you're trying to keep it as close to the ground as possible. If that's something you're trying to feel, just to make sure that your shoulder's working. But I'd say like on a 3-meter putt, my putter's maybe that far off the ground. Not something I think about, but yeah, now that I'm consciously aware of it, it's not something that really matters, because if you're using this, the putter shouldn't immediately go there, here, or up. And
I find that it helps remind me to.
that's fine. That's cool. I don't mind that. Like, as long as it's from here and it's just keep the putter back low so you don't do what you used to do, that's fine. We're all going to have these little cues of bad habits and stuff we used to do, so that's cool. As long as you're moving this and that's the sort of thought process, that's cool. I don't mind if you feel like you kind of need to drag it. Yeah, but don't like do this. Yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying. It's like you'll get guys who'll they'll do that, and then we lose So as soon as you got that angle and you let the shoulder roll, it should go back and through a lot straighter.
With the full face more than getting with the bottom or the top of the
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing is, what happens with your legs and your head when you're putting? That's a student of mine.
Well, GP said for the first 6 feet, your head should stay down.
Yep. What about your legs?
I mean, if you're moving
Just the top half. Okay. Busani? Sorry? Yeah?
Your knees kind of, mine have a little bit of, I wouldn't say movement, but
Okay.
in an attempt to keep my
Do you mind coming up here and showing me? We'll pick on the new guy because he was late. Okay, so okay, so I just want you to hit to this spot. Okay, so I want you to, before you hit, what do you guys see? What does he need to change? Grip? Yeah. You weren't here for this. You weren't here for this.
But it's
I'm gonna-
20 minutes. Cool.
Okay, so so hold the putter in your palms for me, so not in your fingers.
Right.
Like
left
right,
hand.
both, however you hold it, like whatever grip, yeah. Okay. Now from here, start there, with your arms straight, fold them into your sides, and then just tilt down from there.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
That is
Okay,
where
cool.
I arrived.
Okay, so you guys are right. Lie angle's wrong. That's where it needs to be, flat. Okay. This hand forward. Okay. So I need a bit of a bow there. Okay, and narrow your feet a bit. Okay. Where's his ball position? Too far forward. Okay. I'm going to move it back. Is that better?
50.
Yeah. Just forward of center, guys. Just forward of center. So on the try line, but on the other side of 50. Okay. And then you're going to go, we're hitting a 3 meter putt, yeah? So we're hitting it to that spot there. So your stroke can't go past here on the way back. Okay, go. Okay, that's cool.
I was saying my knees just
Yep.
do.
Now I can see what you mean, yeah? I'm going to show you how to fix that. That's why I've got you up here. One more. And it's not to pick on you. It's just to explain. Cool. Tilt down. You can stand a little bit closer to it and then lift your hands up. That's it. That's good. Better? Okay. Look at how long that follow through is. Okay. So you're still going way too far on your follow through.
I've
Yep.
not matched the.
Yeah, yeah. So your follow through is a bit long. Okay. So now I'm going to help you. Okay. So get set up. Let's get that set up. Get your posture right. Hands higher. Stand closer. Yep. That's where you need to be. Okay. Push your knees. It's going to feel terrible because it's right. Push your knees inwards.
As in,
Yeah.
okay.
Squeeze your knees towards each other. Best thing I've ever learned. Your legs stay so much more stable. So you keep pushing there. And I'm going to hold my hand here. Okay?
Which is where I should be finished.
Where you should finish. So down and up with the left shoulder. Inside your right to inside your left. Go.
Okay, fine.
See how far it went?
Yeah.
Did he move his knees? Okay. Thank you. That's all right. I'm recording up there.
loose and relaxed and stuff. Actually, like half a Bryson's a good idea, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's super exaggerated.
Half a Bryson, you know?
Yeah, so very important there is inwards is very important because I can go as far as I want. Look at my legs. And as soon as you don't do that, you start doing this, even from the, as soon as I do this and I let my legs go, the putter face opens 2 degrees.
There's a slight bend, I think. That's really.
Oh, 100, yeah, for strike and, yeah. So it's inwards, and then the other thing is you can see it's going to be very hard for you to stop there. Okay? It's going to be very difficult because you're going to want to push it down that line. You've got to almost put something here that you almost learn to like, it almost feels like you stop as you make contact. Otherwise, you lose that angle. And it's not such an issue over here, but as soon as you get longer, and we start adding loft this way, and you're going to misstrike it. Yes? What's wrong? Yeah?
I think because I use what you call a reverse grip, left hand down rather than your
Yes?
this way.
So this way.
Yes, I've always found that I do less strange shit with my wrists if I do it that way.
I agree with you.
It just helps me lock things.
I am a very firm believer. 99% of my guys putt with this. Like the tour guys that I coach, putt left hand below right. Because under pressure, their right hand gets too active.
That's when you suck.
No, these guys don't suck. They're pretty good. But it's important, especially, it's almost a bit of a cheat code. So this is something you can feel if you do putt like that. You push your fingers into that part of your wrist. And what that does is it holds that angle. You see that? So it's very hard for me to do it. And that's why a lot of guys on tour you'll see putt this way. Because they're trying to get the right hand from doing this. So it's in there. Yeah. This is the culprit. Most right-handed golfers. Bottom hand. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say 99% of the guys actually. We go this way. Because it just holds that putter face with that shoulder movement nicely.
Striking with your left, so
Yeah. So your right hand's more out of it.
so I've been putting with right hand, right shoulder, all of them combined.
That's why you threw putt. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, so you guys have kind of got the general concept here. Okay. That system works really well. It does take time. If you go onto the putting green, and Busani can vouch for this, the first time you go onto a putting green and you try a 3-meter putt with that inside to inside, you're going to smash it 6 meters past. Got a lot more power in that left shoulder than you realize. Okay. The nice thing about it is, instead of going like you used to for 3 meters, you're now just doing this. It's a lot less that can go wrong. Okay? Just got to get used to it. It's a very important thing that I learned while I was doing my practical for TrackMan is the reason why Ricky Fowler was one of the best putters in the world for a very long time was they said his putter moved from 10 foot, it moved about that far back and that far past the ball. And there was no chance, like, to be able to move that putter, you need some distance. So, like, he was just deadly from that range. Aaron Baddeley was the same. He was kind of like he was always moving. That's the one thing, is that's also quite a big thing, is you don't stand too static. Like, once you set up, you want to get going, because otherwise you tense up as well. So the arms are relaxed, but the hands are tight. But don't stand over the thing for too long. Keep moving. Once you're ready, you'll see I'm always rocking. And then as I'm ready, I just stop rocking and then I go. So if you stand static, your brain just starts to think about what you're having for lunch and forget about what you're doing.
Mouse, what are your thoughts on looking at the hole when you post?
If you've got a good stroke, it's fine.
Because I've changed that recently for quite a few months now, and I'm pairing them off, and I have a lot.
It's getting better at it now. You look at the hole and then you'll knock it.
I'm literally at the hole, but just like this side or this side.
That's fine.
Majority of the time. Obviously I've tried it, works for me, so I'm not.
There's actually a very good study about that. The guy who came up with that, he coached Jordan Spieth how to do that. So Jordan Spieth, in his prime, was looking at the hole when he was at University of Texas or something like that, and he was looking at the hole from 10 foot. Problem is, as soon as something goes wrong, you start to miss putts. So if it's working for now to help pace, I'd say incorporate it with that system.
Yeah, now keep the head straight. That's what I find, is that I might turn it slightly.
Yeah. So like try and get the feel of when you're looking, obviously, if that's something that you feel like is working for you, try both and then try this system with that. So maybe in your practice stroke, just get a feel for, okay, that's how far it needs to go. Then look and go. Doesn't matter. You don't have to watch the ball to hit the ball.
Done quite a few studies recently, and basically, it doesn't really matter. They'll say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I theorize it around, we play sports, when you kick a ball, look at your goal. When you throw a ball, look at the goal. You don't look at your hand, you don't look at your foot. True. So your body knows that if you're throwing straight, you know you're going to throw straight. If your club is straight, and you have, like you've just shown us, a correctly straight putt, in theory, if you're looking at distance, your body should then start to figure out distance
Yep.
just by having that, because you'll feel it. Like
Agreed.
I can kick a ball and 9 out of 10, put it right there if I need to, because I've learned to. I know distance now from that. And now when you're looking at the ball, I feel that you're putting, but
You're not aware.
aware of how far it goes every time. Like exactly aware.
Yeah. I'm,
The pace that it comes out from the. That's just. I mean, everyone's different, but
The opposite to that, they found that the problems guys start to focus on the whole. Okay.
yeah. Instead of your,
before, like using it
And
before, and then roll in.
they lose the stroke because they're so focused on the hole
yeah.
instead of the process of hitting the ball.
Yeah. It's basically just making you reactive. That's what it is. It's a psychological approach from being reactive versus being static, and then reacting. Well, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not wrong or right. The biggest concept and the biggest issue I have with golf coaching is I coach guys and I'm like, somebody in their life has told them to keep their head down, and it drives me absolutely nuts. It's the most, please. Putting, if your head's down, you're looking at the ball, keep your head down because you'll strike it. You don't have to look where the ball's going. It's already hit. There's nothing you can do about it. In the full swing, how many? You were one of them. Yes, sir, you were terrible when you came in here. He's like, why did I stay? Oh no, this is what it looks like to me as a golf professional if you keep your head down. Does that look good? Does that look powerful? At impact, I'm here. You're going to tell me I'm not doing the right thing, but I hit by 7-iron 200 meters dead straight every time. Justin Rose, there at impact.
The problem with beginners is that they just keep getting questions because they don't know where the ball is. I mean, like,
Watch the ball.
Watch yourself hit the ball.
Watch the ball.
Yeah.
Don't keep your head down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same concept as you just said, right? Like if I'm kicking a soccer ball, I'm not looking there and I'm going to watch the ball until I'm about to execute, and then I'm going to look where I want it to go.
Like almost follow it almost with your eye.
It's the same shit.
Look down the fairway and then drive it there.
You'll be very surprised. Go Google, go YouTube Justin Rose's follow through. He's literally there at impact. Before he hits the ball, he's there. Why? Because that movement of his is so good. He's watched the ball. He's in a good position. But now he was also taught, and I know his uncle quite well, he was also taught to do that. And then he goes through 6 months and he can't hit a golf ball, and his coach is like, you're doing it again. Because his go-to is, I must be looking up too quickly. And then everything stops because he's trying to do that. And it becomes flippy and wristy. And
I think the whole keep your head down is more about keep your body in that same position instead of lifting up as you start.
100%. Keep your posture. Don't move laterally.
Keep your posture right.
Fully agreed. But you don't have to keep your head down. And that's the misconception. And I hear it all the time. And I've got guys who I've been coaching for 6 months and I can't get it out of them. It's this. You can't. Let your body go. That's why you never see a pro finish like this. They're always here because it allows them to turn through the golf ball. Happy? Yes.
I would, back to putting, I've got two questions there. One might sound a bit silly.
Okay.
First one is, how important is a clean ball?
How important is a clean ball? Oh my
A lot
goodness.
of amateurs do not clean their ball.
So important.
And secondly, on a recently, because sometimes when you're playing, you'll find that they're watering the green just before you get there. How does that affect the speed of the ball and
Okay.
how
So,
do you mitigate?
so a clean ball is almost as important as playing the right ball, which is like super important. So we'll get into that another day. There'll be a clinic on playing the right golf ball, but it affects roll. It affects how you strike it. It affects how the ball breaks. It affects how it rolls. So your speed changes. That ball has to be clean. Even if you're playing with a shitty second-hand ball and you've hit it into the green and you didn't bring your towel, wipe it. Any little bit of, like we just spoke about the external stuff on a green, it's just as important, because if you have a perfect green but your ball's full of mud, it's like playing bowls eventually, because you have more weight on one side. It's gonna negate break and roll, right? So that is very important. For the wet greens, I see a lot of guys when they sand the greens, when they dust the greens, they try and play that the greens are going to be way slower. If they perfectly cut and there's sand on top, it doesn't really affect it, because the granules of sand actually don't get stuck to the ball. It just rolls. It's like a flat surface. If it's wet, if your ball is dry when it starts, that's the first thing. So make sure the ball is dry when you putt. The other thing is make sure the putter face is dry and there's no sand or shit on your putter face. And then add, depending on how wet, obviously. If the greens are slower, you're going to have to add a hell of a lot more. But then I would go, if it's wet on the putting green before you start, you obviously play early morning. So figure out what it is on the putting green, and then when you go later on and it's dry and the greens have dried up and they've mowed them, just go back to your standard setup. But always just go a little bit more. So like go one click further, basically. If you leave it short, it is what it is, but there's no true way of determining what that ball's going to do, because, again, it could be sandy, it could be wet. You don't know what's going to happen when it kicks it off. Like, there's no real answer to that. I struggle a lot when we play early morning, because at CCJ, we tee off right at the front of the field. Putting green's mode. It's running at like 13. And I get onto the first green and it's sopping wet, and I'm like, okay, I'll just take 2 putts here, and you kind of just like hit it a bit harder and try to get it somewhere up there. But I always just go like one more.
And glove or no glove?
I don't care. You're not putting with your hands. So that theory was, I'm putting with my hands, I need to feel. If you use this, it doesn't matter. You can putt with 6 gloves on. The feedback's going to be the same because it's coming from here. Yeah. Yeah. So there's guys like Aaron Rai uses 2 gloves because he's actually got issues with his hands from how many balls he hits. He putts with it. You'll see that it doesn't have any hand movement in his putting stroke. It's all shoulder. 99% of them do that. There's the odd few that do weird things, but like they all know the guy I was talking about and who's taught me this, and like you can't argue with it, because once you've tried it, it's just like your putting becomes, you start making more putts.
Makes more sense, even just the left shoulder. I've been putting wrong my whole freaking life.
Yeah. No, look.
But I've got some eagles and stuff, so watch out.
One every 90 rounds.
Yeah, they come every 90 round, yeah.
So do you do that, like sort of like maybe an intro into that 8-point thing? Like, is there any way that you would do something like that? I'd like to maybe learn it. I mean, we can go on YouTube and try and find this out also.
So I can't offer it here just simply because I don't have a green.
Yeah, for sure.
We are working on with one of the golf courses at doing sort of playing lessons where I would divulge a little bit more into that kind of stuff. So if they're willing to let us do stuff like this over there, which I'm guessing they will, I know the GM quite well. But we're looking at, there's going to be a lot of cool things coming. So like I'm working really hard on incorporating what we're doing here and taking guys out there, and just whether it's playing like 2-3 holes with guys and then dropping back, like doing days like that. It's just tough. Like, it's tough in South Africa, to be honest with you, because people are so territorial, and like there's so many guys, you say, I just want to bring guys there, I want to do a playing lesson. No, we have a coach. So they see me for lessons. I'm not trying to steal his students. I just want to take them on the golf course, but they're full of shit. So we are looking at that. We're looking at doing like a couple of like tournament rounds at the course if we get this. We'll do like a monthly medal kind of thing, a Swing Shack monthly medal, where we'll take out the TrackMan down to the golf course and let guys hit and then see what they're seeing in here on TrackMan, and maybe set it up on a tee box so you can see what you did wrong, or like there's a lot of cool things, but yeah, they just take time, unfortunately.
And back to putting. What about plum bowling?
Yes or no? Like if it works for you, that's fine. Like again, it's just another aim point, really. It's just it does the same thing, right? But I don't trust it, because if you do it differently once, and then you do it like your hand's different height, it does throw you off a little bit. But if you found something that works there,
I use it quite a lot. The only thing is if it's a big breaking putt, it doesn't read enough.
underreads,
It
yeah.
doesn't read enough break.
Yeah. Look, I think like one thing I'd really like to do is like green reading courses, like not just aim point, but just simply how to read greens. Because a lot of guys stand there and they go, I can't see what you're seeing. But like by the time I'm on the green, I already know where I'm going. So the time for me, like from the time I actually step up and hit my putt, and I don't read greens, I'm guilty of it, because like I'm always playing with people and helping them, and they're asking me to read their line. But like by the time I get there, I'm like, take a quick look, and just because I know what to look for, it's like second nature basically. But like understanding things like what the lie of the land around the green does, not the water. Please, if somebody tells you the ball always breaks to the water, just no. Yeah, I played Huddle Park the other day with an old Huddle Park member, and he was telling me it always breaks to Linksfield, and I'm like, Linksfield's over there. I'm like, okay, but yeah, so don't like pay attention to what's around you. Simplest way to read a green is low point, high point on the green, not the mountain and the water. What you're putting on, because some greens are elevated, right? So look for a general thing if you want to confirm, and then check the hole. Always looking from behind is for me, it's the easiest way. Just kind of have a look from back there, just to confirm it. And then you're always looking from relative to if I'm putting that way. If I stand here, the high points there, the low points here, it's probably going to be a little bit uphill right to left. If there's a massive slope in the middle of the green, you're going to have to see that, right? But if it's subtle, which Joburg generally is quite subtle, there's a few courses with really slopey greens, but generally speaking, you can pick them. Why are you laughing? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just a question, so I guess, like practice aids at home, like I've got one of those Astro things you can practice on, but again, that's an Astro versus real grass. Should it make a difference? I mean, even here, using a carpet, your pace is the same, right?
Doesn't matter. You figure out a system, then take it to the golf course and adjust. What is inside to inside? The system remains. The distance changes. So your system stays the same. You just adapt to what that ball is doing on the day.
So like you say, even if you get to a practice green, whatever your
Just figure it out. Like it will take you, like literally just stand there and go inside to inside. If you're happy with a putt, go, okay, cool, I've measured that. That's what that is. Middle to middle, outside to outside. Takes you 2 minutes, and then you can hit a few putts and try and figure it out. Like it's the best way to do it, because it's never going to be the same. Like I only really play CCJ, and every time I go, it's different. And it's just because I've hit those first 3-4 putts before I go, and I go, okay, cool. And I don't have to be there long. It's just like, okay, cool, boom. Okay, they're a bit slower than normal. Then I just adjust a little bit. So I add a little bit. Makes sense?
So if you go, I mean, you play CCJ, you go putt in the same place every,
Yeah.
you know,
Ideally, yeah.
ideally, you know.
I sort of that, just to get, generally to get a pace feel, try and pick a flat spot on the green, because that makes the most sense. Because you're kind of like looking for the most flat, straight putt just to see what it does. And then you can mess around with uphill and downhill and whatever. But the general rule of thumb is your first 4 putts should be gauging distance and speed. And if you're clever, you can ask the guys in the front, what's the green speed? Because then you kind of start to get a reference. Because they will tell you. And you're not asking them because you want to be breaking course records. You're just asking them because you can go, okay, cool. Normally when it's 10 on the stimp, if you don't have time to hit those putts, you kind of go, okay, cool. 10 is inside to inside, goes 2.5 instead of 3. But 12 is, it goes further. You know, so it's a good. Like I always ask, it's just like, what are the greens running? And that, but I think it's because I'm trying to be cool and I'm going to go shoot the course record, but it's not. It's like I just want to know because I can. Sometimes I get there late because it's off early and I can't wake up. But Busani, you had your hand up.
Unless there's a hurricane or something, realistically, how much does the wind, how much should you consider the wind when you're putting? Because
Not in Joburg.
not at all, eh?
Not in Joburg. Cape Town and Durban, yes, but you need a wind of like 30 to 40 to actually start affecting break. Speed, definitely, downwind and into the wind, it does affect it. Cross break, 50, 60k an hour winds are going to start to affect it. But I mean, you're probably not going to be on the golf course when it's blowing like that. If you are, the last thing you're going to be thinking of is
I won't be putting in.
the last thing you'll be worried about is how much it's going to affect. Like I've played in Malaysia at the Vijay Singh course that we built, where it's blown up to 65, and then you sort of, if you're aiming 2 balls right, you tend to aim 4, 5 balls right because you can actually physically see the ball being pushed. But that makes it faster as well. So yeah, it's tricky, but it's not.
Realistically, in Joburg, no.
No, I mean unless it's really bad. But I'd say more so into and against the wind, focusing on speed, maybe adding or taking a little bit off. But it's not going to affect line as much. Yeah.
I tend not to think about it.
The better you do that, the better you play, I've realized. So just find a feel, use that system, and then you should be fine. Because otherwise you get too technical as well. And we all do. Don't overcomplicate it. I'm trying to do this to give you an idea, but I don't want you to be like standing over the wall going, it has to be like this, and then you freeze up. It's just, okay, cool, that's my reference. That's how it needs to go. That's where I'm aiming. Look at it. Go. You don't have to be so tense. Again, are we trying to make this? We're trying to get it close, and if it goes in, sweet. But if we don't, we tap it in and we go to the next hole.
And do we want to tap in front of it or behind it? As in that theory of like rather be long than short, right?
Interesting stat. What is the percentage of putts left short on the PGA Tour?
We're like 20.
10.
No, yeah, 60% left short.
Short. Wow.
70%.
Oh, they're short.
Short.
Okay.
That's because their greens are so fast.
Well, because they're just trying to dive in.
Yeah.
Because they don't want a 5-footer with
Yeah.
7 degrees of break on it.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want to be putting on that for $20. Never mind
And
putting.
you've already worked out that line anyway.
It also makes it easier because otherwise you have to watch it as it goes by, and then you have to read it again, and like there's a lot to be said about this whole. It needs to go 3 foot past, and that's why I say like a foot past is enough.
Sure.
Because you're not always going to hit it a foot past, but if it's just past, then if you leave it short, you leave it a foot short, and you don't want to be screaming putts by, because then it's counterproductive, because you're reading greens twice, you frustrating yourself double the amount that you should be. Like if you leave a putt, if I put you on a green and every single putt you hit and it like stops in the middle of the hole just short, it's like, okay, cool, you're going to get a little bit frustrated and probably laugh at yourself. But if you stand here and you hit it the same distance by, then you're just going to be, and that needs to go. You can see the laugh, I know, I've been there, yeah.
That putting guru who did all that robotic test work that was, he said 18 inches fast was his, what they,
Perfect speed.
yeah, what they came up with the perfect speed after hitting thousands of
Yeah.
balls with a robot. Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, if you look at a guy like Jim Furyk, the reason why he can shoot the scores he can shoot is obviously he's very good tee to green, but his pace is impeccable. And he believes in the waterfall effect, so it's basically like he's trying to let the ball just tip over the edge. That's good on 14, 15 greens. Once the greens drop to 10, nearly impossible, because the amount of break you need to allow for and the amount of precision you need to allow for a bounce or, a little bit of water or hitting a pitch mark, Now, we're not playing those golf courses these guys play either, right? So like getting it past allows for if you sort of do hit a pitch mark or whatever and it bobbles. Because if you hit a pitch mark there and it bobbles and you're putting like this from 10 foot, the ball will stop just here.
Yeah.
So they obviously go and check that. But their greens are so perfect. Like yeah, I've played quite a few of their courses that they play on the DP World Tour, and like the Live guys played in Singapore. Like those golf courses, you don't have to worry about shit like that. You can try and die it, and it's just the same. Every green's the same speed. They all no pitch marks. They pay people. Like you look around, there's always people fixing pitch marks and cutting the greens and like brushing the sand off the greens from the bunkers. Like it's different, and that's why you pay $6,000 to play golf there, because you get what you get, right? You get what you pay for. So, but yeah, just slightly past, I think, is a good aim point. Like from like 10 meters, if you hit it this far past, accept it. But if you hit it that far short, don't say get it there and get upset, because you weren't trying to hold it.
Any putt that's just giving length is perfect.
Right.
That's the next stretch putt.
Within a grip.
Yeah.
Give me range.
Within a grip. Yeah. Look, anything that takes the pressure off. Focus that you had one good putt. The rest of the putts shouldn't be thought about. They just need to be little tap-ins and off you go. And you will make them. If you're focusing on the right things and you get the system down, you'll be very surprised. Like sometimes I go out and play and I make an unbelievable amount of putts, even without trying to make them. And I'm like, it would be nice if this happens every time, but you got to understand that there's going to be days where they'll lip out, and it's just telling yourself it's okay that they lipped out. You've done what you need to do. You've two-putted and off you go.